All right. Hi, friends. Hey, everybody. Today is Friday. Exciting times. The weekend is here. And can you believe it? Next week is Thanksgiving already. A week from today is Black Friday. So this year is going by quickly. This year is going by quickly. It's already middle of November. End of November is fast approaching. It will be January in 2024, a whole new year before we know it. So today, I wanted to talk about, I am talking about influence. So I invite you to consider that word influence. What does the word influence mean to you? What does influence mean to you? Because to me, when I think of influence, who, well, first of all, consider who is one of the most influential people in the world. And I would suggest that a child is pretty influential, right? Because if you've had a child, or maybe you remember when you were a child, or you've seen a child, or you have nieces, nephews, I'm sure that you have some children somehow in your life or have had, right? And so what do they do when they want something? So let's say that little boy or little girl, let's say they want an ice cream, right? So what do? They say, Mom, can I have an ice cream? She may say no. And what do they do 2 minutes later? Mom, I really want an ice cream. And what they proceed to do is find 100 different ways to ask for an ice cream. It's so hot today. I really want an ice cream, right? They'll go after it. They'll really go after it. And then what happens when they've asked Mom 100 different times, 100 different ways, and then Dad comes home? What do? Dad, can I have an ice cream? Right? And they start the whole thing over again. So they are the leaders of influence. They know what it's all about. They've picked up on it. They've picked up on it over the years. I mean, think about it. They've watched thousands, if not millions, of commercials, and they've picked it up. They've learned a little bit about influence. And so, what does influence mean to you? To me, it means increasing the probability, the likelihood that I will affect someone a certain way, right? So I remember at one of my jobs that I had, one of my coworkers, and we were in sales, and so our job literally was to influence other people. We wanted other people to buy, to order something, to get that sale in some way, right? And so I was having, at the moment, I was having a bad day. And I let him know about it. I let my friend, my coworker, I'll call him my friend. Uh, I let him know about it, that I was having a bad day. And we proceeded to have this conversation. And what we decided was there's no reason to have a bad day. You can get affected uh, in the moment, in that second, in that hour, whatever the case may be. It's okay if we have a bad second, a bad minute, or a bad hour, right? That's okay. We're dealing with emotions, we're dealing with life. And so sometimes that will happen. But but we don't have to have a bad day. Just because we have a bad moment, a bad second, a bad minute, or a bad hour doesn't mean that we have to let it keep going on, right? What are you going to do? Make it a whole bad year and a whole bad life? I mean, come on, right? And so we don't have to do that. We don't have to make it turn into a bad day. We all have the opportunity to choose for ourselves how things are going to affect us. So just this morning, I'm driving down the road, and one of my pet peeves I've decided of recent months and years is someone who cuts in front of you really close. I mean, when they leave 6 inches, 1 or 2 or 3 feet in front of you and them as they move over in the lane right in front of you, to me, that's too close. It's too close. And so I honked my horn to let him know about it. The main thing, my message that I was putting out to this individual driver was, hey, you're cutting it too close. It's really not safe. You're increasing the likelihood that you're going to hit somebody or cause an accident. That was my message to him. Now, of course, you don't know when you hear a horn honk, you don't know exactly what the message is. It's basically, hey, I don't like what you're doing, or whatever. But we don't know that. And so what did he do? This individual gave me a certain finger. He just put his hand up in the air and gave me the finger, right? And so I didn't appreciate that. So I was not happy on the rest of my destination. I was not happy. I was driving to where I was going this morning. And so I was just not happy at all. Did I mention I wasn't happy? So those things happen, right? But we don't have to let it. I didn't have to let it turn into a bad day, or really even a bad hour. My ride was about 30 minutes, and that was not a pleasant 30 minutes, I'll tell you that. But I knew that I just had to let it go, especially at a certain point. He's no longer in front of me. He's nowhere around. What's the purpose of hanging on to that and having a bad hour or a bad day? There's no reason for that. Although there's some residual. I mean, I'm talking about it right now, aren't I? So I'm obviously still thinking about it, but I don't have to let that affect the outcome of my day, is my main point. And so, do we have influence on people? Now, when he rose his finger up in the air and gave me that salute, he was influencing me. It doesn't mean that I had to take that on. It doesn't mean I had to take on that negativism. It doesn't mean that I had to then go and have a bad day or a bad life, although some people sometimes will do that, right? But we don't have to do that. It's all about, again, the moment he did that, he increased the likelihood or the probability that would affect me in some way, potentially negatively. That was his influence. But I'm the one that can decide, I can just let it run off me like water. And it's not a big deal. I don't have to let it affect me. But it influences, at least by the action, to me at least. And tell me, feel free to comment. Let me know if you agree or not. But to me, it's doing something in some way affecting someone, so that the likelihood or the probability that they'll act in a certain way, right? So in other words, if I promote a sales item to somebody, if I'm selling them, then my job is to promote this thing in a positive way. And so to me, that's what influence is. Now, it can also be, and this could be a positive or a negative, or it could be intended as a neutral thing. I could tell someone just some comment, and they could take it the wrong way. Let me give you an example. Years ago, I received what should have been an innocent email. I had what should have been an innocent email sitting in my inbox. And I chose, or at least interpreted it the wrong way, and therefore I chose to have a negative situation at the start of my day. And it was very innocent. It simply started with the word hello. The word hello, of all things. Now, what does hello mean? Well, usually hello, when most of us think of the word hello, it's like, hi, how are you doing? Greetings, salutations. Hi, how are you? Usually, to most of us, that's what hello means. But hello, on the flip side, can have a negative connotation. What I mean by that is, have you ever had a kid growing up say, hello, kind of like, hello, dummy, hello, stupid idiot, right? And my mom says, that's a 4-letter word, idiot. Don't say that. Um, that's one of the things that she said growing up. But, we don't have to let that affect us. And I didn't have to let that affect me, but I misunderstood. I thought the person on the email in another state, in our sister office in another state, I thought they were saying that I was doing something dumb. And I didn't take it very kindly. And so, long story short, I emailed something, they emailed something back, and this went 5 or 6 times. And let me tell you what, that conversation went downhill quickly. We kind of had a battle of the email words going on, right? And I was getting frustrated, similar to my one-fingered salute that I received this morning. I was frustrated because I was thinking the person on this other end of this email conversation was calling me dumb, in so many words. And so I didn't appreciate it. And there was a whole email war of words that went on. Now, however, what did I do to solve the problem? Because I knew, my gut feeling was there's miscommunication going on because of the email. And so what did I do? I picked up a phone. And I called that individual and I explained it. We had a good laugh about it, smoothed everything over. Everything was fine. No big deal, right? It was just a miscommunication. Hello. He was simply trying to say hello. Hi, how are you doing? Greetings, salutations. Hi. That's all he was saying. But I took it as, oh, this guy's telling me I'm an idiot. I'm doing something wrong, right? And so, again, influence, that was a very neutral, if not even a positive thing that he was doing, was just saying hi, hello, which I encourage us to do that, and ask people. It's kind of like a way of saying, how are you doing, in a light way? Hi. But he did not take it very well at all, right? And so it is what it is. Now, so influence. Now, one of the reasons I'm talking about influence is because online, influence on social media can be a whole different thing. And let's see. Because influencers, there are different categories of influencers. Okay. So what types of influencers are there on social media? Well, it's based on the size, right? It's like if you're talking about companies and you're talking about a sole proprietorship, that means there's one person in that company. Or you might call it a solopreneur. A solopreneur is one person. It's a one-person entrepreneur, a solo entrepreneur. That's what a solopreneur is. And then there's partnerships. Partnerships is typically 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, a small group of people that are equal partners in that business. And then there's something like a corporation, where it's now corporation, I guess technically could be one person, but typically most corporations or companies that we think of that's a corporation, it's a big company, probably in most cases 100 or more. We think of that. Although technically it could be one, but typically it's a larger group, right? So what about influencers? What are the categories of influencers? Now, typically influencers are someone who influences, someone that has influence in some way online. So you're putting out a message online and you can influence someone. So if you just, let's say you're doing something really innocent, more of a positive situation where you're saying online, happy birthday to Bob, or happy birthday to Barbara, whoever it is. Um, you're you're putting out influence out there that it's very likely that you're hoping that other people will wish that person a happy birthday too. You're putting out a good message of happy birthday to that person, right? And so let me see, I'm going to add this really quick. So I'm going to pop this up on the screen so you'll see that this is going to be a simple black and white thing here. I'll have to recategorize this later, but so influencers. So how influencers are rated is, well, you could say biggest to smallest or smallest to biggest. In other words, there's small group influencers. In other words, off of their followers, when you start online and get your first person, whether you're on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or any of these things, you get your first person to follow you, boom, you're considered an influencer in the social media world. You could have 1 or 1 million or multiple millions of followers. So let's look at the different categories of influencers. Okay, so there's mega influencers. Mega influencers have 1 million or more followers. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean if, Gary Vee or some big mega influencer, Tony Robbins, if Tony Robbins says, hey, in 2 months, the first Saturday of the month, I'm going to have a fire walk. It doesn't mean everybody's going to go out and do that. It does, however, mean it's very likely he's putting it out there as an influencer. It's very likely that if he did that, if he said, 2 months from now, so the first Saturday in January is, I'm going to have a fire walk, and it only costs $5,000. A lot of people aren't going to do that, but a lot of people will. There will be, just because it's Tony Robbins, I can pretty much guarantee you, a lot of people would pay that $5,000 and do that fire walk. Almost anywhere, anywhere in the world, or definitely if you're in the same country as where that is, many people are very likely to do that. So that's influencers, right? And so a mega influencer is someone that has 1 million or more people. A macro influencer is someone that has 100,000 to 1 million followers. A micro influencer, anywhere from 1 to 100,000. And a nano influencer is less than 1,000. So the moment someone goes on social media and has 1 follower, boom. In the social media world, they're now a nano influencer. They have at least 1 follower, right? Now, one of the reasons that I'm talking about influencers is right now I am seeking one of these types of influencers. So again, these are the different types, from nano influencer with at least 1 follower up to a mega influencer, which is 1 million or more followers. Now, let's say, for example, why is this important? Well, one of the reasons that this is important is influencers are a big marketing, basically a great way to do marketing campaigns these days. So just as an example, let's say you had a company that provided the product of a hairbrush that you can sell. You're selling hairbrushes, just as an example. It could be anything, but let's take that example of a hairbrush. And let's say that you are selling a super elite $15 hairbrush. It's like static free and keeps your hair from getting all, staticky and whatever it does, let's just say. So you might offer a $15 hairbrush. Now let's say, just as an example, that you talk to an influencer. To be more specific, looking at our categories here, a micro influencer, so that second category, the second smallest number of followers category, micro influencer. Let's say that there's a beauty influencer, so someone that teaches women how to do makeup and hair, let's just say. And so if you wanted to promote your hairbrush, she might be on, let's say she was on, let's just say Instagram. It could be Instagram, TikTok, it could be any of them. But let's just say that she's on Instagram, and let's just say she has 100,000 followers. So, and let's say that you wanted to sell your hairbrushes, right? And so let's just say it costs you 15. Let's just say it costs you $6 to make a hairbrush, right? And you're going to sell it for $15 plus shipping and handling, because you don't want to pay the shipping and handling. So you tap into or invite, you influence, you invite this influencer, this micro influencer of about 100,000 followers, to promote your hairbrush. All she has to do is one of her videos, and you've seen this before if you've watched YouTube or these different things, Instagram or any of these things, where someone will pop up and say, "Hey, all of my lovely followers, today we're sponsored by Susie Q hairbrushes, and we have this special deal on these great hairbrushes. They're only $15, but they're top of the line hairbrushes. I encourage you to try it out," right? So let's say of 100,000 people, let's say only 10,000 actually end up purchasing it, right? So that person now, that influencer, now Susie, who's selling these hairbrushes, she might say ahead of time, Lucy the influencer, Lucy the micro influencer with the $100,000 followers, excuse me, 100,000 followers. Susie might say, "Lucy, tell you what, if you promote, as an influencer, if you promote my hairbrushes, I'm going to sponsor you. In other words, I'm going to give you, for each hairbrush that's sold through your invitation, I'm going to give you $5. Now, what she's not telling her is, okay, it's costing me $6 to make each one. I'm going to give $5 to the micro influencer. So she's going to make $5 on each one. So there's $5 left, not including shipping and handling. So her, Lucy, the person that's selling these hairbrushes, she's going to make another $5. So it's a win-win for everybody. Someone gets a beautiful hairbrush. Lucy makes money because she's selling her hairbrushes, and Susie makes $5 because she's promoting these hairbrushes. Everybody wins, right? And so $5 each. The influencer, let's say that 10,000 over 100,000 people bought a hairbrush. The influencer, the micro influencer, she makes $50,000 because she makes $5 on each hairbrush, and she promoted 1,000 or 10,000 of those that got sold. So she makes $50,000. The person selling the hairbrushes, she also makes another $50,000 because she's making the profit on those hairbrushes, right? So one time shot, that one video, unless they promote multiple videos and multiple offers, that one time both of them ended up making $50,000. Now I right now am seeking influencers. However, the type of influencers I'm searching for is $5 or $2 per customer that ends up buying this product, but it's not a one-time deal. It's not a one-time thing where it's a hairbrush and the influencer and the person selling that makes $5. What I'm talking about is a service, an online service using hot technology, the hottest online trend, where I am offering to you, and we can have a discussion on the details of this, but I'm offering to you that if we can work together, if you and I can work together to find this influencer, these micro influencers, anywhere, and I'd say it could be anywhere from 1,000 to 100,000. I'd probably target it at more to 5,000 to 100,000. So as you're looking on social media, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, whatever it is, Twitch, whatever it is, X, Twitter, right? Any of these things, as you're looking around, and this weekend, let's say you find a influencer, a micro influencer, anyone that has anywhere from 5 to 100,000 followers. Be thinking, Lane said that there was some kind of way that I could invite this person to promote the hottest new online trend. And he said that that influencer could make some money. I could make some money, and Lane can make some money. So it's a win-win-win. You, the influencer that we find, and me, all three of us, we can create a win-win-win. Now, it could be any influencer, but really, if someone is in the technology realm, if someone is promoting things like, I don't know, iPhones or anything online, these are the kind of influencers that I'm seeking right now. And if you connect me with them, so if you send me a message and say, hey, Lane, I found a micro influencer that did this YouTube video about the latest iPhone or whatever it is, anything to do with technology. It doesn't have to do with technology, but anybody, especially who may be interested in technology, if you and I have a conversation with them, I can show you how the influencer can have a win for them. You can have a win. I can help you create a win, and I can have a win. So the three of us, win-win-win, where, and it is about $5 or $2 per service, basically. So if you and I, just as an example, if you brought an influencer to me, and let's say they ended up having 1,000 people that purchased this service, well, that would be anywhere from $2 to $5 per person. Let's just say it was $5. That would be an extra $5,000 per month for you. Or let's say it's 10,000. Let's say it's that 100,000 followers, but only 10% of those end up purchasing the service. 10,000 people times 5 is $50,000 per month that the influencer would get. But you and I would get some of that too. You and I would be able to match that. And so, influencers, micro influencers. So be looking for micro influencers. And if this speaks to you that you would like an extra additional income stream, let me know and I'll give you more details. By the way, next Friday is Black Friday. So be paying attention this next week. I've been using AI art. So if you would like, let's say that you're an artist, maybe you're a painter or a sketch artist, whatever it is that you do. Let's say you're a painter. So recently I introduced this to a woman, and this is totally separate from what we were just talking about. So kind of changing the subject now. AI art. So I've learned how to create amazing pictures and videos. But I have a program that draws pretty cool pictures. And next Friday, Black Friday, I'm going to have a show. I'm going to have a live video just like this, where I am going to be teaching for about 30 minutes, maybe an hour, but probably 30 minutes. I'll be teaching about how to do this, so let's say you're a painter and you take hours or days, maybe even weeks, to paint amazing paintings, right? What if you could learn a way online digitally to create a digital picture or painting instead of hours or days, seconds or minutes? Now, some people aren't interested in this because they'd rather do it the old traditional way and take hours or days and paint a painting, and that's fine. But if you are a painter or an artist and you'd like to learn how to do that in seconds or minutes to create these amazing paintings or pictures, tune in next Friday. Or if you're like me, much of my life, I have attempted to draw pictures. I remember when I was younger, when I was in high school, I would draw pictures of ducks. And it was pretty kind of lame. It was kind of lame. Let's just put it that way. I also drew pictures of the Incredible Hulk. And let's just say I was not the best artist as far as paintings and sketch artists. That was not me. However, in high school, I was a photographer, so I became a pretty awesome photographer. And my senior class, we were the first senior class ever. I was on the yearbook staff, so every about fifth picture in our yearbook was mine, was a picture that I had taken. And but we also had the first video yearbook in our senior class that went with the picture yearbook. And so I learned videography early on to my senior year of high school. So I consider myself a pretty good artist when it comes to photos and videos. But I now am able to create amazing pictures in seconds or minutes that would normally take people hours or days. So if you would like to learn how to do that, tune in next Friday. Pay attention over the next week, and I'll post about this. But tune in next Friday, and we'll have a live video show where you can learn how to create amazing pictures and videos. So if you're an artist and you'd like to learn how to do this, or maybe you're not an artist, you wish you were an artist, you have, like me, two left thumbs or two left feet, or however you want to put it. If you'd like to learn that, if you don't consider yourself an artist but you would like to be, this may be your chance to do that. So tune in next Friday, Black Friday. Be the afternoon. It'll be something close to 4 Eastern time and 3, 2, 1 Pacific, I believe, if I'm doing my math right. So with that, I wish everybody adieu. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon.